So you've heard of Lenormand and something has piqued your interest. Maybe it's the fact that it can be very predictive and spooky specific, or maybe you just resonate with it because, like you, it can be straight up and to the point. Or maybe you heard that Lenormand is easier somehow and you just want something that is straight up, easy to understand, that you can just read and interpret. But when you actually try to read Lenormand, it can feel anything but simple. What the heck is going on here? In this video, I drilled down 3 essential Lenormand tips for beginners. These are my 3 penultimate tips that if you can master these, you can master Lenormand. If you stay to the end of this video and practice with me, you can be better at Lenormand than when you first started. So without further ado, let's get cracking. My name is Emily Rose. I'm a professional Lenormand and tarot reader. I have been reading Lenormand since I was about 12 years old. I have taken master classes and studied under some of the best Lenormand readers in the world. And I have been teaching Lenormand for about 6 or 7 years now. So if you want to learn Lenormand, I'm your girl. This is what I do full time. Diving straight in, tip number 1, my penultimate tip, and this one is probably the biggest, and that is you need to learn how to read card combinations correctly. Now, you may be thinking, well, of course I need to know how to read the cards. How simple could this be? But in my classes that I teach, even folks that have been reading for a while, as we start to kind of dig into their technique, I a lot of times see a couple of gaps in how they read card combinations, and this is going to filter down into everything. Think of Lenormand like a language, and if you don't know how to pair words together, then things can get tripped up really, really quickly. So what I want to do here is show you how to read card combinations, and I'm going to show you some tricky combinations on purpose so you can see immediately why the order in Lenormand matters so much and why it's so important to read card combinations correctly. So let's look at some card combinations together so I can show you exactly what I mean. Over here we have the clover card. The essence of the clover is quick, luck. It's generally a positive card, but it's kind of like a little flash in the wind. Unless you have cards that say this is sticking around, it's usually just some kind of quick luck. The clover can also mean opportunity or something like that. Then we have the coffin. The coffin might be exactly what you expect. Coffin is endings, it's a heavy card, it's about loss. So in Lenormand, the card to the right modifies the card to the left. So what we have here is we have this card, the coffin, happening to the clover. So we have an end of luck. Okay? End of luck. This can also be like a loss of an opportunity of some kind. Just some examples. But what if we were to flip this? And now, instead, we have the clover on the right-hand side, and now it's happening to the coffin. Okay, so we have here that there could be some type of an opportunity after loss. We could have that this is a lucky ending, that this is going to end in some type of positive, lucky way. So you see how we got a pretty different meaning and all we did was flip around the cards. Let me show you one more card combination here. We'll do the same thing. So here we have the stork, and then we have the mountain modifying it. I tend to see the stork as progress. It tends to be moving in a positive direction. Then we have the mountain here, which is a challenge. It can be something that's immovable, things like that. So, without a context, just looking at this, I could see that progress is going to be blocked or stalled in some way here because we have the mountain here and it's happening to the stork. So because the mountain is happening to it, it's saying that this blockage is going to apply to it. But what if we were to reverse it? Here we have the stork happening to the mountain. So if this is the case, then we have progress after a blockage, or there's some type of positive movement with something that's been holding people up. So I just showed you 2 card combinations just to give you an essence of how important this is. Now, of course, Lenormand is more nuanced than this, and we're going to get into context and other things in the rest of this video, which is going to matter quite a lot. But the important point here is that the order of your cards matter. The way that you're interpreting your cards matters when it comes to Lenormand. Tip number 2 is to always stay within your context. So I'm just going to share with you one of the biggest things that I see amongst new readers especially, and that is conflating advice context with predictive context. So when you're asking a question, one thing you want to think about is, am I asking for advice or am I asking what's going to happen? Okay? Because if you're asking for advice and you get something like the mountain, right? The mountain can be stay on course here, be sure, be true, stay strong, right? Be unmovable, right? But if you get the mountain and you're in a predictive context, that could say, hey, you're going to face some type of a blockage. Of course, the cards around it matter a lot, but that's something to kind of keep in mind as you are looking at your cards, is what kind of context am I in? Now, there are more kinds of contexts than just advice and prediction. There's love context, there's health contexts, there's work contexts, right? So what you want to do is ensure that you are interpreting the cards in relation to that particular question that you ask. For example, if you are in a health context and you get something like the scythe, the scythe can show a procedure or a surgery or something along those lines, maybe a break in a bone or something like that. But if you are in a relationship context, right, the scythe can mean something completely different. The scythe still has the same essence of cutting, of segmenting, and I tend to think of the scythe as like forever changing what's on the other side of it. So that could signify a break in the relationship. That could signify some type of a separation going on, right? So this is why the context is important, is because you're going to be able to understand what that card means within the context of that particular question. I'm going to show you examples here in our last tip, so make sure to stick around for those because you're going to see how we can change the meaning based on the context. Now, I know that this may be simpler said than done, and that's why I have tip number 3, which is to practice with your own life, and then you can see the cards really come to life in your own world. So you can see directly, oh, okay, this is what this card means in this particular context. Now, it's no secret that you need to practice to get better at something, and this is why inside my Lenormand membership, we have our interpreting lab with the fabulous Chris Bruder, and he's a phenomenal reader, and he takes you through different contexts, through real life readings that he's had with clients and himself, and you can practice right along with a pro. So this is something that we have inside the membership. You can get on the wait list at emilyrosedivination.com/coming soon. And in the meantime, though, let's practice together. You can see some spreads from my real life that I just pulled yesterday, and I can see how they've already come to life. You don't have to wait so long to see what will happen. You can ask very immediate predictive questions and just that day get feedback and get better at reading. So now I want to show you some spreads from my own life, and I just actually pulled these yesterday. So these are new spreads. I just wanted to see what was happening in my life. So this spread is in response to the question that I asked, what will my husband get me for our anniversary? And this is what I got. So remember our context. We're talking about probably an object or an experience of some kind, right? Because this is going to be some type of gift that he gets me, assuming he got me a gift, right? Which I don't have cards saying he didn't. So I asked, what is he going to get me? So to read this within this context, I see the first card here is the ring. So I'm getting that it's probably a piece of jewelry of some kind, something small. Then I have the moon here. Okay. So the moon could be something silver. It could be something along those lines. And then we have the snake. So what I actually interpreted this as when I saw this was I was thinking, okay, this could be, a snaky silver piece of jewelry, or it could be a moonstone. And guess what? It was a moonstone. So he got me this really gorgeous moonstone necklace for our 3-year anniversary. So you can see that when you are interpreting within a particular context, how you can get really specific, right? I mean, this is very specific. But if we were to flip this context, if we were to, ask a different question like, okay, show me what's going to happen at work today, and we got this, we're going to interpret this very differently, right? So here we could see that maybe there's like a problem with getting a contract recognized, because we have the ring here, which could be a contract. We have the moon, which is recognition, getting the attention. And then we have the snake, which is usually like an issue or things not being what they seem. So you can see how I would interpret this differently if we were in a different context. And this is why it matters so much to do it in your own life, so you can see how these cards are going to apply in a very real way. And so when they show up, you know exactly what they mean. Okay, this is a spread I pulled yesterday as well. Unfortunately, a family member of mine went to the hospital. He had a fall, and I wanted to know what would happen at his hospital stay. So I have the bear, the whip, the moon, the rider, and the stork. This is the Rana George Lenormand. By the way, it's my favorite Lenormand deck. So the first 2 cards in a 5-card spread, this is going to affirm our context. So what I'm getting here with the bear, when we're in a health context, I'm seeing that this is strength typically. And I'm seeing that there was a stressor to his strength in some way, or his strength was harmed in some way. He's beaten up is kind of the first thing I thought. Okay, he's taken a hit here. I don't have the scythe here, which made me happy because that typically means that nothing's broken if it shows up here. But what I do have here is I have the moon in the center. So the moon is our center card again here. And I see the moon when we're in a health context. This could be like imaging. So this could be like an MRI or, CT scan or something like that. So what I can see here is that the imaging is going to likely show a referral. The writer, when I get this in a medical context, it's usually like, it can be mobility, but one thing that I'm seeing here, especially with another movement card with the stork at the end, is I'm seeing, okay, this is probably going to get referred somewhere else. He's probably going to get the imaging and then need to go for a referral. And that is exactly what happened. So they did agree that he could benefit from a referral to another doctor. And so what they did was they took imaging, they assessed it, determined nothing was broken, and sent him on his way with a follow-up appointment. Now, if you want more practice with Lenormand, if you want a daily practice that you can just grab and use, I have a free mini course. You can take it at emilyrosedivination.com/mini course. It comes with a workbook and 3 lessons to get you started. I hope that this video helped you with Lenormand and that you're just a little bit better at it than when you started this video. And remember, I have so many free resources for you, including that mini course, which I have linked down below. And there are so many videos here on YouTube, including every Lenormand card meaning. I hope that this has helped, and thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you would like more.